sit and be attacked and say that's wrong in that industry and they're coming for us, and it's wrong in that industry and they're coming for us, attack our communities, or you can get off your knees and you can fight.
I want to start though by congratulating the organisers. I mean, I've been coming to TUC for ages. This is a fantastic turnout on the march, and people should be really proud of the efforts that they've made to come here today to let the TUC know what you and your members think.
D. Luxford, PCS Bristol.
Serena Chung, PCS Brighton.
I'm here because I strongly believe that we need coordinated action to defeat the government, and the TUC should be calling for a one-day general strike.
I second that.
So if Unison could be taking action, if the NUT and NES, UWT could be taking action, if UCU could be taking action, and PCS could be taking action, and we call for a ballot of all those in the middle of a 4-year pay freeze in the public sector to take action this autumn. And then we put a call out to all workers in the private sector to coordinate the planned action they may have with that. So therefore, if this autumn there are any more rent-ply plants that close, or if the construction companies seek again to cut wages of the electricians or any workers, or Unilever decides to go on strike, or London buses, or the rail workers, is it beyond the realms of possibility that they could go out to strike on the same day against this government?
The PCS view is quite clear, that the best way to defeat the government is to have mass coordinated action of the public and private sector, a general strike, as soon as we can get it to the pressure of the government.
My situation, my union's position is absolutely clear. When we want the General Council to consider Resolution 5, which in my view will be passed, is not just to consider it and dump it, but to name a day as quickly as possible after October 20th and get on with it.
I've just been handed a bit of information. A member of the Unison National Executive has just tweeted. Their delegation has voted to back Resolution 5!
Comrades, and one of the reasons that the POA put this resolution forward was because of what Mark has just outlined of rent-ply workers. They can bail out the bankers, but they can't keep the rent-ply factories open. We think that's an absolute disgrace. But what we also say is...
I want to know, and I will be pushing for in the future, to know what Labour are going to do when they come back to power. You know, they're saying it's a disgraceful act and all the rest of it. Yeah, but words are cheap. Action speaks louder than words. But support disabled workers. Thank you very much.
And be one voice through the trade union movement, irrespective of industry. That's what the message should be this week to this coalition government, that you've threatened us enough, and we will now take up that mantle and threaten them with the prospects of a general strike. That's what we should be saying loudly and clearly. We shouldn't be embarrassed to do it, because they're not embarrassed to kick us to death and kick vulnerable people in society to death.
As a Brighton resident, I'm pleased to welcome this NSSN mobilisation to our city, a city that has shown a huge response to the strikes and battles so far. All Unison Service Group executives were put under pressure to recommend acceptance of the changes to the local government pension scheme to members. But in higher education, where the left made gains in the recent elections, we resisted this instruction and gave members our honest opinion that the changes were unfair, unnecessary and should be rejected. This outcome was swept under the carpet nationally, but it was significant. The bureaucracy has lost a rubber stamp, and just as activists in the PCS heroically pried their union from the grip of a right-wing bureaucracy a decade ago, activists in unison can and must use every avenue available to us to reclaim our union.
My name's Helen O'Connor, I'm a Unison Steward, I'm also an NHS nurse, and I'm here today lobbying the TUC because I'm fed up with patients suffering benefits attacks, housing attacks, NHS cuts to services. They're really suffering, it's not fair, and the unions and the workers need to use our industrial might to fight back against this.
I'm Roger Bannister, I'm a member of Unison's National Executive Council, but I'm not on the delegation at the TUC this year. And I've come down to lobby the TUC, particularly in support of the call for a 24-hour general strike.
There's a shift in things now, and Unison hopefully are going to fall in behind the other left unions and back the call for a 24-hour general strike, which is badly needed.
Thank you, brothers, sisters and comrades, and it's a great privilege to address this gathering. The NSSN actually arose because a motion was put through the RMT. Together, the best forces in the trade union movement in one body that was not just capable of leading demonstrations and walking down with placards, but actually of organising, if necessary, industrial action right across the piece in all of our different trade unions.
First of all, can I echo the opening comments of many other speakers in thanking the NSSN for firstly organising this protest march and rally today. But secondly, for the day-to-day work that the NSS does in terms of being a genuine articulation of the rank and file in many unions.
No to public sector cuts!
But the key message that I want to get across today, in a minute we're going to take that banner, walk behind it, march to lobby the TUC. I go out and I look across the water. Because the key word for today is pressure. If you'd have told me 12 months ago there would have been a vote on the General Council of this TUC that was tied in declaring its support for a general strike, then frankly I wouldn't have believed it. And I think it's a sign of that when pressure is applied to union leaderships that they feel they respond to that pressure.
Our day will come, and we'll have it.
On its own is not enough. And that's why the message that we're bringing today has got to be that all that campaigning around October the 20th is not to let off steam, it's to provide a springboard to coordinated national action and towards a 24-hour general strike that can really make this government take notice.
So we're calling on people here to continue the protest actions, to write into the embassies, to continue the campaign for solidarity with the South African mine workers.
What we've decided as rank and file is you can stick your injunction, you can stick your anti-trade union laws, because we're walking out anyway.
I deal from the top of the packs. And I ain't going to try and win a resolution over by people by saying, we only want you to consider a general strike. We're making it clear as far as we're concerned, it's the only option is a general strike.
And comrades, I'll leave you with this thought. George Osborne roundly booed at the Paralympics. This morning we're hearing about stalking horses and Boris Johnson prepared to challenge the Prime Minister. Now that tells me the Tories are having some internal difficulties. The greatest thing we could do on behalf of the people of this country is when they're down, kick them,